I think we're live and kind of ready to get started here, folks. This is now broadcasting to Facebook, and we're here with the incredible Fareed Haque, one of the finest jazz guitar players in the country, and I believe he's got some special guests to introduce. Just to roll through some of the things I want to talk about. This is the Bluegrass Ambassadors Academy Junior. So this will be aimed at kids age 5 to 15 approximately. We've got some really cool stuff in store here. These episodes will go up on our Patreon, patreon.com/Bluegrass Ambassadors after the show airs. You can check that out. And we are paying the artists here. If you want to donate to help us do that, please check out bluegrassambassadors.org or paypal.me/bluegrassambassadors. Fareed has generously donated his fees this week to the COVID-19 Relief Fund, which is amazing. And yeah, I just kind of want to get started here. Fareed, I'm going to kind of give it up to you because I know you've got some cool stuff planned. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Fareed Haque on the guitar here.
Applaud for everybody. I'm going to applaud for Ben and for all the musicians and people who are helping to make this happen. And today, we're going to talk a little about jazz, and we're going to play a bunch of songs for you. And I'm going to have some questions, fun questions that if you can type in your answers, that would be great. We're going to talk, first of all, and play some music for you. Mostly what we're going to talk about is jazz. I'm a jazz guitar player, and this is my acoustic guitar. And later on, I'm going to play my cool electric guitar. You're going to hear them both today. And we're going to talk a little bit about jazz. Now, there's a famous saying in jazz, which is it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. And so we're going to talk about swing, and we're going to talk about jazz, and we're going to have a little jazz party here right in our living room and hopefully in your living rooms. So jazz is an American music that, for the most part, started out with a mix of European and African culture that happened in New Orleans. And in New Orleans, a lot of folks would go marching to celebrate all kinds of events, births, marriages, deaths, Mardi Gras, just any kind of party. And even to this day, you can go to the parades department in New Orleans and you can get your own parade with a police escort and everything. You go to the parades department and they'll say, hey, it's on Tuesday. You should probably go down Bourbon Street and then turn left on Lafayette Street and then go right on Maple Street and come back down this way. To this day, those parades are still happening. So it's nice to know that some traditions keep going, and those are the traditions that sort of gave rise to jazz. Now, think about marching. Marching in New Orleans is the beginning of jazz. But what are the kind of instruments that you have when you're marching? Well, one of the instruments that you had was the tuba. So we're going to introduce here my son, Elihu. Elihu, why don't you pop on the screen and say hello?
Hey, am I on the screen here?
I think you are.
Yeah, all right, nice. Hey, everybody. So,
and why don't you play a little bit of a marching tuba bass line like you would hear in New Orleans?
Yeah, all right.
Woo! All right, let's hear it for Elihu, everybody. Elihu is way up there in upstate New York, and he's right now on his home, and they have all kinds of fun instruments there. And later he's going to play some bass for you. And when we play a song, we're going to have our audience join us from up there.
Oh,
Our
cool.
audience is not just human, I should let you know. So keep your eyes out for that one. You have a question there, Ben?
Not yet. I think everybody's just kind of enwrapped in what you're doing.
How many
All right.
viewers do we have now?
Yeah, make sure that if you have any questions, you either drop them in the Q&A panel here in Zoom or in the chat, and make sure you list who's asking the question so we can make it clear whose question we're asking. And also you can ask questions on Facebook, and our team is monitoring the Facebook live stream too. So drop any questions there, and we'll make sure to squeeze them in between Fareed's wonderful, informative stuff. I've learned so much already. That's awesome.
So we're going to introduce another one of my assistants here. This is my son, Charles. Come on up here, Charles. He's been hiding back there behind the drums. Charles, wave to everybody in their homes. And Charles is going to show you, there's another part of marching, which is the bass drum, right? You have the tuba playing the bass parts, the low parts, and then you have the bass drum. Let's hear the bass drum. Let's hear it going boom, 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 boom. And if the bass line was. You see, what you have is 4 beats, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and that's how you march. Marching is always in 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, left, right, left, right, left, right. And so a lot of this jazz, Ira, you want to march across the screen here real quick?
All right, bye, Ira.
We got one more helper who's a little shy. But anyway, so now Charles and I are going to play the bass and the guitar and the bass drum all at the same time. Just the bass drum. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. See that? Marching is, we got the beat going. Now that's the beat. Now we're going to add some other parts of the beat. The next part of the beat is the accents on 1, 2, 3, 4 on the hi-hat. Let's show everybody the hi-hat. Can you see that? It's a little hard to see. Oh, it's okay. I can tip it this way and then we'll go back. See that hi-hat? There it is. Whack, 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 whack. Give it a couple of whacks. With your foot, right? He's hitting it with his foot. Okay. Now here we go again. Now we're going to do the drums and the bass drum and the hi-hat. 2, 1, 2, 3. That's 2 parts of the drums. Now normally those would be played by different musicians, but the drum set put all those pieces together. So you can imagine that back in the day, there was one guy hitting the bass drum and one guy hitting cymbals together. That's like what the hi-hat does. And one person was playing the snare drum. Why don't you play us a little something on the snare drum? Yay, one more time. Woo, that sounds great. Now we're gonna add the bass drum, boom, boom, boom. The hi-hat, chick, chick, chick. And the snare is it's hard to get them to stop once they get started because you wind them up and they just go, go, go.
Go, go, go.
That's right.
Go.
So we're going to play the snare drum. You're going to see the snare drum is going to talk to the rhythm. Not going to be the same every time. It's going to have a little conversation. And you're going to start to hear some swing in there. Swing is that special rhythm that makes you want to move and boogaloo a little bit. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Great, great. So we've got 3 elements of the drums. We're going to add one more. This is the trickiest one. This is the ride cymbal. And this gives you that special ting, ting, ta-ting, ting, ta-ting rhythm. Let's hear a little ride cymbal, Charles. Good. And let's add the ride cymbal and the snare now. 1, 2, ready, and. No, look at 6 is good. 6 are good for now. Once we get, there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the snare. Hear that? Ding, ding. Now add the hi-hat. And the bass. All right, so that's all the parts of the drums and the acoustic guitar. And we're gonna play now some a song here that's called I Know a Lot About You, right?
I don't know enough about
I Don't Know Enough About You. So we're gonna bring 2 more special guests to join us to play this early jazz song, right? And this is my wife, Jill, and my little girl, our little girl, Eleonora. And Eleonora likes to dance. And she might even dance for you here while we're singing. All right. So this song has the A section and the bridge. Middle part. And then at the end, there's going to be a little jam session. And we're all going to do one other thing that's important in jazz. We're going to do one thing, which is swing, which we talked about, all those parts that make you dance and boogaloo. And then we're also going to improvise. Right? So a lot of these things that we're going to do right now, we haven't worked them out. We haven't rehearsed. We're just going to do this stuff. All right? And so I'm going to play a little guitar solo in the middle of the song. And then at the end, Miss Jill is going to sing a bunch of, she's going to make up a bunch of words about the things that she doesn't know about you or me or you or you.
We're learning a lot more about each other since we've been locked together in the house for the past 2 weeks. So there isn't much that I don't know about you anymore.
Most of it that we're learning is good. Some of it's stinky. All right. I'm going to play the intro and then we'll come in.
Bit about a lot of things, but I don't know enough about you. Just when I think you're mine, try different lines, baby. What can I do? I love the lady to snooze no buttons on my shoes, but baby I'm confused about you. You got me in a spin, what a spin I'm in, 'cause I don't know enough about you. Jack of all trades, master man, and isn't that a dirty low down shame? I'm so sure you'd be good for me if you'd only play my game. I went to school, I ain't nobody's fool. That is the day till I met you. I know a little bit about more about spirology. But I don't know enough about you. I know a little bit about sociology, a little bit more about genitology. But what I'm really good at is quantitative methodology. But I don't know enough about you. I don't know enough about you.
All right. Let's hear for Miss Jill singing, and Miss Eleonora dancing, and Mr. Charles playing the drums, and Mr. Elihu over there phoning in his bass, tuba. And now we're gonna let you guys go for just a second, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about jazz.
Hey, I do have a question for Charles, actually. Someone named Sam asked how long you've been playing the drums.
Well, I haven't been playing the drum set for that long. I think it's been maybe 1.5 years, maybe a little less. But I've been playing hand drums and other percussion instruments for a while now, 4 or 5 years.
So they also asked if you take lessons.
Yeah, I do. I take lessons at NIU with Rodrigo.
Rodrigo Villanueva, who's professor of percussion and arranging there, and a great drummer and a dear friend.
That's cool.
And what kind of stuff do you practice, Charles?
Well, I practice a lot of Latin stuff because that's primarily what Rodrigo does. But I practice all sorts of music and whatever calls, I guess, whatever we need.
That's great.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk a little bit about jazz as it got a little more modern, and we went away from the marching beginnings to what we call bebop. And that's when they started using the actual drum set. And instead of the tuba, mostly using the upright bass. So we're going to ask Elihu to play a little and show a little upright bass. Elihu, you there?
Yeah, I'll see if I can do my bass here. Let's see here. So, you see me here with the bass? We all good?
Ben?
Yep.
Can we see Elihu with bass?
Yep.
Yeah. So I should probably demonstrate a bass line, right?
Walking bass line.
Yeah, so in C, it'd be like. Yeah, I don't know.
That's good. That's good. Everybody, let's cheer for Elihu on the upright bass. Cool.
Yeah.
So you hear how that bass keeps going, boom, 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 boom. That goes along with the kick drum, boom, 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 boom. And that's why we call it walking, because just like jazz was marching, now we're going to be walking with our bass line. So now I'm going to get my electric guitar here. This fancy guitar, huh? Elihu, I think we're done with the bass now.
Sorry.
It's all
Hey,
right.
by the way, we're going to do another song here. Elihu, do you want to show everybody the audience over there that's going to be keeping along with our music?
Sure, let's see the baby birds. I'll just bring some birds to the camera here. We got some baby birds here that are going to be peeping along with the music. So
Oh my word.
they just hatched out in the incubator in the back of the room here.
And what do you raise baby
We have,
chicks?
we have chickens for eggs and meat here. So
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
yeah, so they're going to be peeping along.
All right, so we're going to demonstrate now the electric guitar. Thank you, Elihu.
Yep.
I'm plugged in. You can see way back in the corner, that's my little amp. And I've got No, that's my dog. Dog. Minnie, come over here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she wants me.
Do you want to be in the picture? Everybody want to say hi to Minnie? I guess we got to introduce the whole family. We've got a lizard and frogs upstairs, but we're not going to bring them down. This is Minnie, and Minnie is a swinging pooch. He's a swinging pooch. Minnie the moocher. You're one old-fashioned hoochie coocher. All right, down you go, girl. So here comes the electric guitar. So you hear I'm playing the chords and melodies. And that's a little blues song that I was just making up for you. So that was a little bit of improvising, and you heard the walking bass, you heard the boom, boom, boom with the kick drum, you heard the jazzy chords, and some soloing. Well, we're going to bring our crew back now, and we're going to do a song for you that's all about our favorite food. And we even have help from little Ira. Come say hi, Ira. Bring the bag, bring the bag. Because it's fun, okay? Ira's here in the corner. He's a little hiding out. Why don't you lean in and say hi?
Hello.
That's Ira, and he's got a bag of potato chips. And so I think the birds are going to be cheeping along because they think it's potato cheap, but it's actually potato chip. And we're going to do this song, and if you get permission from your parents, we'd like you to all go get a potato chip or a cracker or something that goes crunch. And when Ira goes crunch,
We could do a little test.
let's do a little test here of a crunch. Let's get on the camera. Here we go. Here's a little test of a crunch. Oh, did you hear that?
Good.
It's pretty good. We have jalapeno chips, so they're kind of spicy. Kind of a spicy family. All right, here we go. This is called potato chip. I think we know it. You want to hold that up? Or?
I think so.
Yeah, I got the music stand.
Okay.
You can take that music off and put it on the floor, Ira. Just dump it all on the floor. Okay, let me help. Everybody can watch Eleonora for a second here. Just put it all on the floor. There we go. Is that good?
No. Right on Minnie's face.
Okay.
That works out pretty good.
Well, that,
All righty. Here you're gonna have to lean in. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 2, 3.
Potato chip. How my mouth just drips. Potato chip. How my mouth just drips. Crunch, crunch. I don't need my lunch. All I want is potato chip. Potato chip. How my mouth just drips.
Potato chip.
How my mouth just drips.
Potato chip.
Crunch, crunch. They won't eat their lunch. All they want is potato chip. No matter where you are, but you always find it back around. Maybe it's up in your bedroom or in the pantry or sitting alone in your car. Potato chip. How my mouth just drips. Potato chip. How my mouth just drips. Crunch, crunch. They won't eat their lunch. All they want is potato chip. around. Whether you're in a bar or a picnic or even a baseball ground. Later this, how my mouth just dripped. Later this, how my mouth just dripped. Crumbs, crumbs, I don't want my love. All I want is how my mouth just dripped. Ooh, crunchy, crunchy. Crunch, crunch, I don't want my love. All I want is
All right. Just like we didn't rehearse it, but that was good. Could you again?
Yeah, be just for future tunes, be careful. The drums seem to overdrive the sound a little bit. So just play a little bit more dynamically on the drums, and I think you'll be fine. It's not a problem or anything. Just keep it. Yeah, I have some questions for you.
Wait a second. Is the drummer too loud? Again?
Would you mind answering a few questions from kids that are tuning in?
Sure. Here, why don't you come over here so they can ask you questions too. Come on, just come.
Era wants to know what grade both or all of your kids are in, and what instruments they all play.
Elihu is, what's he now? A junior in high school, and he plays piano, recorder,
Oh yeah, I can jazz recorder.
bass, and tuba.
Yeah.
And a
Main
little
is tuba.
French horn. Not a little trumpet and French horn, but like a regular sized trumpet and French horn, a little bit. But mostly tuba is his main instrument.
Okay.
Yeah, most guy. It's big.
I think maybe he needs to make a little break. Let's say bye to Mrs. Jill and
Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you.
they'll be back. Charles, you're in 6th grade now. 6th grade. I get these grades confused. And he plays a little piano, hand drums, and regular drums. And Ira here in the front is our youngest, and he plays some piano and recorder and clarinet and a little bit of guitar. And
Is recorder a pretty normal place for kids to start learning music? Is that why they both play it?
Yeah.
I think a lot of school programs have recorder, and it's a fun instrument to play, and it's pretty inexpensive and easy to have around the house.
Mm-hmm.
And
If I can point out one thing about recorder though, there are different types, and I mostly play the bass here. So
What? Can we hear that?
I guess sure, it's pretty quiet. I don't know if it'll come over on the camera. The sound is pretty. Yeah.
I've never seen a bass recorder. That's
So-
amazing.
Yeah, that's my whole recorder collection. I don't know if you can see. I've got like a stand of them down there. I don't know. Whatever.
Very cool, dude.
But I play bass, so yeah, there's this.
yeah, the recorder was a very important instrument in Baroque and Renaissance music, actually.
Hmm.
And so there's a lot of music for a full recorder ensemble, bass, tenor, alto, and soprano recorders. And Elihu's kind of specializing in all instruments bass. So that's why the recorder and the bass, upright bass, and the tuba, and all that kind of stuff.
Very cool. So I have another question here, although I lost who asked it. It might have been our friend Eamon, but he wanted to know how much a jazz guitar like the one you have in your hands costs.
That's a tricky question.
Yeah.
Most of my guitars are given to me by people who want me to play them to kind of promote their make. This guitar is probably on the market, would sell for around $13,000 new. So it's a pretty expensive instrument in the grand scheme of things. But there are excellent, excellent jazz guitars that you could get for around $1,000, give or take. I definitely have played many instruments on records that were between $1,000 and $2,000. And my acoustic guitar that you saw here earlier, I think Ira's going to hand that to me. My acoustic guitar here. Ben, you might know about these guys. This is actually not a very expensive guitar. This is made by Blue Ridge Guitars. You see it's got that pretty headstock there?
Yeah.
All that work there. And this guitar goes for around $800. Maybe even a little less, depending on how you get it. And it's really pretty good. It's a kind of a copy, I guess, of an old Martin.
Yeah, those guitars are very popular in bluegrass. I see a lot of people playing them, and you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on your first instrument. You can spend quite a bit less than that to get started, and then as you take the instrument more seriously, you can justify spending more money. But
I think I'm going to put out there for all of you moms and dads who are listening as well. Don't be afraid of used instruments. I think a lot of folks, because they might not feel comfortable, they don't know a lot about instruments, want to get something new. A lot of times a new instrument will take a year or so to really break in. And so professional players often will prefer used instruments where all of that changing that happens in the first year of an instrument is done. So, don't be afraid of an instrument that might have some nicks and bonks in it, because it's usually a proven entity. It's something that works well. And a lot of times, especially with acoustic guitars, the longer the wood breathes, the better the instrument's going to sound. That's why old 50 and 100-year-old acoustic instruments sometimes are loved, because that wood is really opened up. So don't be afraid of used guitars. What were you going to say, Charles?
Don't you have that one that was like really nice and it's like a scarf on it and stuff? Like a cigarette, put a cigarette on it.
Right. I have a guitar that I play a lot. It's over here, right there in the corner. Charles can hand me that one. Unsnap it. And this guitar goes with me everywhere. Beautifully. This guitar normally would be worth a lot of money. It's made by Ramirez in 1972. But if you can see here up close, someone put their cigarettes out on the top years and years ago. Mm. And so this guitar isn't really worth as much because of that, but it doesn't affect the sound or the playability at all. It's a fantastic sounding instrument. And so that guitar you could get for a lot less, and it's just as good as a $7,000 guitar. So
great. Here's another question. I've got a bunch of really great questions here, and I'm going to let you play a little bit more. But
sure.
One last question before you play a little music. Irene, I swear this isn't a plant. Irene would like to know if anyone plays the banjo.
The banjo. One time we had a banjo, and I was going down to the store. I had my banjo in the back seat, and I went into the store to get some soda pop, and I heard a crash, and I ran back out to my car. I said, "Oh no!" And there were two banjos in the back seat.
Funny guy. So,
no, we love the banjo. But we don't. Actually, we do have a banjolin in the house.
Oh, wait, where is that?
It's somewhere in the closet upstairs. That was
it's Asian.
That was Miss Jill's grandpa's, I think.
And what's a banjolin?
If you take a banjo and a mandolin and you throw them at each other and they don't break, it becomes a banjolin. It's actually a mandolin with a banjo head on it.
That's cool.
May I say an interesting fact about the banjolin real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Back in the 30s, 40s, and into the early 50s, they used to teach kids banjolin as a first instrument, just like today a lot of kids learn violin or recorder as a first instrument. So kids used to all get a banjolin, and that was the version of like the violin that everyone learns in orchestra in 4th grade or whatever.
Yeah, they're smaller, so a younger person could play them. That's right.
And so what's interesting also to add to that, Elihu, was Jill's, who is it, Jill, who played? Our great-great-grandpa played the mandolin, and his kids were all part of a mandolin orchestra.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, wow.
All female mandolin orchestra.
Really?
Equal rights people, pay attention. All right, we're going to sing some more music for you.
What do we got left?
We got a bunch left. We got Fram sauce. Right? Yeah. You want to do Straight Up and Fly Right?
Okay.
So this is one was made famous by Nat King Cole and his famous trio. A couple more? How are we doing there on time?
Yeah, we got time for a couple more. I actually got a really good question. Someone says, what's a good way to start learning how to play jazz?
Listen to it.
Like, who should they listen to?
That's the first one to do. You should listen to jazz. And you should listen to any jazz that you'd like, but there's some great names. You might want to try listening to Dizzy Gillespie. You might try listening to Louis Armstrong.
Charles Heston?
No, that's a dictator.
We have a weirdo over here, usually with drummers. Louis Armstrong, Dizzy Gillespie. Start with all the trumpet players, because they're a lot of times the big names that brought a lot of musicians together. I can actually give you guys a listening list later on if you guys would like, and you can start with that.
That would be great. That would be awesome.
But yeah, if you started with Louis Armstrong, Dizzy Gillespie, or Miles Davis, you're going to cover most of the traditions in jazz. Miles Davis did not play the saxophone.
He played both, right?
No, he did not play both. Get this guy a gag.
So another, Sarah wants to know what your kids are currently listening to.
Well, now he can talk.
Now you can talk. Charles likes to listen to jazz.
All right. So I'm listening to a lot of like old Dixieland blues, like
Basin Street.
Basin Street blues. Yeah, it's a classic. Lazy River. I'm listening to Vehicle, which is a song for my school band that I'm playing, and yeah, I mean that's it right now.
Chameleon, you were listening to Herbie Hancock's Chameleon?
Yeah, and Drifting too.
And Drifting by Herbie Hancock?
Cool.
Right. Yeah. And Mama, what do you listen to when you listen to jazz?
Oh, well, I listen to all the female singers. I love Dinah Washington, Anita O'Day, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald. And I've been listening to a lot of French music because I want to learn how to speak French. So Madeleine Peyrou and Edith Piaf. And my favorite singer of all time is Patsy Cline. I have to give a shout out.
Cool. Now, Patsy Cline was a country singer, right?
Well, she was a country singer who also had a jazz career and sang a lot of jazz songs.
Well, she
especially
didn't
later.
have a jazz career, but she sang songs that were pop for that time, 40s, 50s.
Right. So maybe we'll do a Lazy River.
Okay.
And then maybe we'll do a Patsy Cline song.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's see. So let's see. We did this in A flat, right? So we got to figure out what key we're in, right? I think Eleanor wants to play guitar too.
Tree. Come away your trouble, dream a dream with me. Up the lazy river, where the robin song awaits the bright morning, where we can love along. Blue skies up above, everybody's in love. Up the lazy river, how happy we be. Up the lazy river with me. How happy we be, have the lazy river with me.
Hey, that was beautiful.
That's a good song, huh?
Hey, Fareed, I got another great question from you here from Sirat Tripathi. He asked,
3 times fast.
yeah, right. That's a good name. What's the right age to learn the drums? Maybe that's a question for both you and Charles.
I started learning hand drums when I was pretty young. I know, like 6 or 7. I'm not really sure.
You know, actually, it's funny you say that because actually, now that I remember, both Elihu and Charles and even Ira started out playing some drums. Right, Elihu, do you ever still play drums at all?
No.
I think he does with his hand drums once in a while. But he used to make a lot of money busking, and he was only 4 or 5 years old, and you were about 5 years old. So I think learning hand drums, you can be pretty young. Maybe she can do it.
Hey, Elihu. So what's first of all, many people here might not know what busking is. So I think that'd be cool for you to talk about that a minute.
So busking is when you essentially play on the street or just out in public for tips and just play, and people come and listen as they're walking by and they tip you if they like what you're playing.
Huh.
I used to busk with hand drums, and then I started busking with recorder, and I recently have been busking with tuba, and it's been working out, but it's a bit of a job to lug it out to the street.
Yeah, right. Do you have a sousaphone?
I don't, but it would be cool to have one.
Yeah.
Actually, what I really want is a heligon, which is like a smaller sousaphone for soloistic stuff.
Huh.
Because phones are so big, they're usually tuned in B flat or A flat, and it's hard to do much more than oompa on them.
So how much money do you make when you go out and busk?
I know it's usually like between 30 and 50 bucks an hour.
Wow.
So
That's
it's pretty good. Yeah.
Very cool.
There's an important factor to consider, though.
Novelty and age.
I think that can be summarized in cuteness.
Yes. And I think that's why I've had to switch to a more interesting looking instrument, because I'm not as cute as I was when I was 5. So
I think you're just as cute.
Oh boy.
That's your father right there.
What was the most you made?
I think it was like 8. And that was for charity. So like it's not crazy.
I think Charles made about $80 busking once for a charity.
Wow. Elihu, forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but what I think it'd be good for people to hear what you're listening to these days as well.
A lot of classical stuff, because the symphony I play in is, we can't rehearse anymore because of the whole coronavirus thing. So we're essentially, the conductor and the orchestra management is trying to get us all to listen to as much classical stuff as possible. That's what I've been doing. I've just been trying to keep my ears like thinking in a classical way, in a musical way, by listening to a lot of symphonies. I've been listening to Brahms 2 and Mahler 5, Prokofiev 5, and all the Respighi tone poems, Fountains of Rome, Pines of Rome. There are a couple others I'm forgetting, but yeah, a lot of big classical stuff.
We also, for you, Elihu, do you go to any SPAC concerts?
I've been to a few, but I don't go to that many. I think the best one I went to was last summer, which was the 1812 Overture, Tchaikovsky's 1812. And because, of course, it's Saratoga, and we've got all the Revolutionary War guys here. They brought out their reenactment cannons, and we had real cannons fire for the 16 cannon shot in the end of the overture.
Wow.
That was a pretty cool concert. But generally, I don't really go to concerts. I just kind of stay at home and practice and listen to music and socially distance myself.
Good man.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Fareed, you got another song? Oh wait, let me check. It looks like there might be one more. Just somebody said they loved your musical talent and knowledge, Elihu. Actually,
Cool.
all the kids. So
Right. Cool.
Forget you, Fareed.
You've been annexed.
Oh, we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun here.
That's cool. Well, it looks like we have time for maybe one more song. You wanna take us out with something, Fareed?
Amma, you ready?
No.
So we're one of the reasons we're doing this is to support the idea of people staying home, and I know that that a lot of things kind of get boring, especially meal times.
Oh.
Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah.
You want to get them? We have time.
Okay.
So Miss Jill is going to get the words to this song, and we're going to do a song called Frim Fram Sauce, because I think when this whole virus thing blows over, everybody's going to want to go out and get that fancy meal with the Frim Fram Sauce. Can you ear a hole, baby?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
I don't want French fries, red rice, tomatoes. I'm never satisfied. I want that French sauce with the awesome taste. This is my I don't want pork chops and bacon. They won't waken my appetite inside. I want that French sauce with the awesome taste. It's a pop on the side. You know a girl, she's really gotta eat. And you know she should eat right. I will get you 10. I'm gonna beat my girl right tonight. I don't want pork chops and bacon. That won't waken my appetite inside. I want the French sauce with the awesome taste. We should pop on the side. ketchup, mustard, pickles, lettuce, avocado, all.
Yay.
All
Very
right.
cool. Hey, hey, Fareed, where can people learn more about your music?
The simplest way is to go to my website, www.fareed.com, Fareed, and or my Facebook page, Fareed Haque Jazz, or just Fareed Haque. You'll see me there. And there's all kinds of music there and pictures of my guitars and stories and interviews and articles, and also a lot of guitar lessons on truefire.com, which you can also get to through my website. So go to www.fareed.com for all things.
Cool. Hey, and Elihu, do you have anything you want to promote about music you're doing or anything?
I mean, if anyone who's watching has Instagram, they can find me at tuba_practice log. I post every day and I document what I'm practicing every day.
Wow, that's pretty cool, man.
Doing it for the past 13 months or so.
So how much are you practicing right now?
Anywhere between 1 and 3 hours a day is about, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Shameless plug, he also is an aspiring aeronautical engineer.
Oh, yeah. And so if they want to if anyone wants to find my aeronautical aviation stuff, it's unrelated, but if anyone's interested, that can be found on Copter Dude on YouTube. So
I will be checking that out.
Both things that I do are findable.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, Fareed, let's finish this with one last question. That's a follow-up to one of the previous ones. Thank you so much for sharing your entire family with us. This was really special. Seriously.
It was fun for us too. Everybody got to participate, and it's a learning experience for all of us, and a good chance. You know, cooped up together, we got to work together, and it's really wonderful to take this tough situation and make it into something good. Yeah,
that's a great way to put this. So the last question here, and I think it's a great place to leave this, is the person who asked about drums said that they had a baby brother who was about 3 years old, and is that too early to start learning how to play an instrument?
I think 3 is about as early as you can go, and I think my experience has been that learning about rhythm is the quickest and simplest way to begin to acquire musical skills that will apply to every other instrument and every other situation. So getting a shaker, even Eleonora is at the age of less than a year, taking her shaker and shaking it. I can even put some videos up. People can see that she's shaking these shakers and she's listening to the shakers and she's dancing. So if you can get some shakers and drums and play along with your favorite songs, that's a good place to start. And then I think probably 5 or 6 would be about as early as you would want to start a physical drum set. But you could certainly start hand drums as young as 3 or 4.
That's fantastic. One last time, I want to thank each and every one of you, your entire family, for being a part of this. Please go to Fareed.com, check out more of Fareed stuff. He does everything from classical jazz to jam band music. That's really exciting stuff. You got to check out all of it. Elihu, it's Copter Dude on YouTube. And remind me of the Instagram.
And tuba_practice log.
I think that'd be a really great thing for people to look at and see how much work goes into learning an instrument, but also how rewarding it is.
Yeah, and the thing that's interesting to do is to look back at my first post and to hear how much I sucked, and to look back at my post from like yesterday and how much better I sound because of like spending it and being conscious of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it all the time. Yeah.
That's really cool, dude. I appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing that. So
Yeah,
if you guys, next week we've got amazing banjo player named Gina Furtado, to one of the best banjo players in the world, easily. That'll be on both Wednesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time. You can go to bluegrassambassadors.org/academy to learn more about what we're doing and learn how to help support this. We're paying our musicians. Fareed was very generous and is donating his fee this week to the COVID-19 Relief Fund. Please check out his stuff and check out everybody's stuff here, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you guys so much. You made this really fun. So
yeah, it's fun. It's great.
thanks, guys.
Bye now.